Hi, this is Price Action Analyst. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I had a question today on VeChain. VeChain is a coin that I've had a buy recommendation on for a while. So if we just start with the daily bars. So VeChain's had a leg up and consolidation and a breakout. And this subsequent breakout has failed, and it's been in a downtrend for a while. And I think I've put buy recommendations on it here. So they were a little bit early. None of this buying. They had the wicks here. I think I put buy recommendations in there. So it turns out that none of that was substantial, or none of it held, and it's gone against us. There was air on the daily here. Prices continued to push down. So I guess the question that I got was for advice, or should you sell it? So I will say that the decision to sell it is really, it's yours to make, because it depends on where you entered, what your risk profile is, all that sort of stuff. And I'm not trying to cop out of the decision. I'm going to get to where I think what price is going to do potentially. But when you take that information based on your risk profile, and then you decide, whether you're willing to exit or whether you're willing to hold. And so, so the orange lines are support and resistance. The colors are kind of hard to see. This is a yellow line. This is a yellow line. They're marking air. The green lines are kind of my next kind of not ideal entry, but just where I would expect to see the buying step in. And so really what I'm looking at is I'm looking at this wick here and the end of this wick now, and I'm looking at the start of that wick, I guess, if that's the end. So I'm looking between that area, and then I've framed that up in sort of, there's a trend line underneath, and price is right at that trend line now. And so, it's come through support, which is not good, but now it's testing this downward trend line. It's testing the Bollinger Band. It's inside this zone, and as it pushes down here, and then it's this trend line too. So as it's pushing down, it's trying to break out of two trend lines in the context of two wicks, and then another wick. So, it's very unlikely that you don't see buying support from here to here. Does that mean that price can't just press down here? No, it doesn't. Again, nothing is guaranteed, but this area is almost certainly going to see buying support. So, if I was looking to enter, I'd be watching this place for a substantial bar, a retrace, and then another buying bar, and then that's where I would look to get long. So I was looking for that here, and it ended up being too early. So again, this zone here is where I would look for buying. Now, this is where your decision making comes into play, right? And again, it applies to up here as well. If you were to get in here and you're wrong and price continues to push against you, if you know that you don't have the propensity to, handle price pushing against you. So let's say you get in here at 138, price is, let's say we know in advance the price is going to go down here, and you don't have the propensity for that. Then as soon as you would have a line in the sand, and if price gets down there, then you would just exit. So again, you need to start developing an idea of what your honest risk profile is. So, if you're in now and you're worried about it, could you see price go down from 1.5 to 137? maybe you're better off just selling now and cutting your losses, and then watching price if it's going to come into this area, or even if it doesn't, wait for it to make a substantial buying bar wherever it does it, and retrace and then push up again and then buy back in. So again, I think high probability in the short term is that you probably get a little bit of a push down into this area, and then you're going to see what the buying support looks like off of that. And again, maybe price just stalls here and pushes up and it respects this trend line. I don't know. It's hard to, again, these are just areas where I'm looking or expecting buying support. So, this is again your decision. If it's 156 and you could never accept it going to 144, well, then maybe you want to exit. But again, you have to make that decision. I can only tell you that this area is very highly likely to produce some buying support if price doesn't just push up out of here. But I would expect it now, based on the look of this, to maybe probe down here. And so, again, if you decide to cut it, then cut it and watch. And I'm always keeping an eye on VeChain, and I've got a position in VeChain. And so if it gets down here and I see, substantial buying, then you'll probably get a notification about that, and then you can re-enter. And even if you cut this trade here and you mitigate the risk of price doing the low probability thing and going down, and you end up buying in here and price is going to push up, to me, that's very acceptable. It's almost like the cost of insurance. You wait for price to prove that, the buyers that have stepped in, and you buy back in. You shouldn't be afraid of, having to buy a higher price if you're worried about price, coming down. So, I'll let you make the decision as to whether or not you're going to exit. But again, this area essentially between the green lines here, a very high probability that there's going to be buying support and hopefully substantial buying in that. You've got a trend line, another trend line, support, wicks, Bollinger Band. So, and then you've got it in the context of this very strong push up. And we never really got, again, you don't have to, there's no guarantees. You don't have to get that second leg, but we never really got it. We're just, I think you're seeing a deep wash of support here. But again, worst case scenario is price comes back and tests the air right down at the beginning of the push. That's in the realm of possibilities. And again, this is the place to decide whether your risk profile can handle that or not. So using me as an example, I have a position in VeChain. I haven't really kept, I don't know what my entry point is for VeChain. I think it was down here. It was like one of the first coins I bought, and it wasn't chart based. I just bought it. But I don't really, I haven't noticed any of this because I don't look at my portfolio in the day-to-day context of price movements. So for me, I don't really care. Like I think this will push up in the long term, and if it doesn't, maybe one day I'll sell it, but I'm not too concerned about that. So I think I could handle seeing price get down here. But if you can't, be honest with yourself and, make a decision. Maybe you say, all right, if price pushes down to this yellow line, I'll sell it. It's, that's a choice that only you can make. Anyways, I'll leave it there. I hope that is helpful. If it's not helpful or you have some more questions off the back of that, please let me know and I'll do my best to help you. Thanks a lot.